What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review. Today I'm talking about 50 Shades Darker. Um, so, Anna and Christian are broken up. It's just too intense. their relationship is so intense, they just couldn't take it anymore. So they split up. Obviously, Christian is an insecure, obsessive guy. He has to have Anna, so he continues to pursue her, even when she doesn't want him to. And she's like, hey, we need to make a new arrangement. So they get back together, and they pretty much have the same arrangement as before, so I don't really understand it because she never signed like the contract in the first place, so they never had an arrangement, so I don't know why she would need to change the arrangement. But anyway, she wants to change Christian. Christian wants to control her, and they want to both emotionally abuse each other, and that's kind of what happens in this movie, and that sounds fantastic. But unfortunately, this movie is just pretty lame. The first movie was bad too, but it was so terrible and so cringy that it was actually kind of fun to watch in like a B movie kind of way. So I was hoping that that would continue on to this one, and unfortunately it doesn't. This is a very serious tone, but they don't really like camp it up, or unintentional or not, they don't camp it up. There's not a lot of humor in it. They still have the same like ridiculous lack of research when it comes to sexual terminology and sexual dynamics. I don't understand why they wouldn't just do a Google search to figure out what words meant and then make the characters in the movie kind of go along with what's established. But for some reason, they don't want to do that. It's just kind of dull. Above everything else, it's just a boring movie. I desperately wanted some wild moments to happen or something interesting to happen, and it just never does. This to me feels like it's a completely unnecessary installment in the series. I did see 50 Shades Freed, and if you take the first movie and the last movie, I think you have a pretty decent overarching story as far if you like terrible bad movies. But I don't understand this one. It's completely different in tone from the other two. Although to me, honestly, all three are completely different movies that feel like they were made by completely different people separately that never consulted each other. But unfortunately, unlike the first and the last movies, this one is just super boring. Doesn't really do much. The sex is dialed way down from the first movie. So there's not as much nudity. There's not as much, sexual craziness, which it wasn't that crazy in the first movie. So to tone it down seems ridiculous when you build the whole franchise on the promise of sex. Which, by the way, would continue into 50 Shades Freed, which had hardly any sex at all in it, which was ridiculous. But I'll review that movie separately. In the end, I just didn't like this movie. I just thought it was just boring to me, and the worst thing a movie can do, in my opinion, is to be boring. I could have been fine with this if it would have been good or watchable, or if it would have been just so terrible that it was at least entertaining, and it doesn't do either of those things. It's just kind of like blah. Like, it's one you check your watch through. And like I said, I kind of had my expectations, like I was pretty open-minded going into it because I did think the first one was so bad that it was fun. So it's not like I went in with like some terrible attitude, although I did go into the last movie with a terrible attitude based on this movie. So I wanted to like it, but unfortunately it doesn't have a fun melodramatic story. It doesn't have quite the level of cringe in the relationship dynamics. It doesn't really do anything. I don't understand why this movie exists. It doesn't further the story. It introduces a couple new characters, one of which is completely dropped from the last movie, and the other one is just a ridiculous Lifetime style character that's interjected in here just so that there's something happening. But again, I can't really recommend this. Even if you like are the kind of person who has to watch every volume of a movie series, I think if you watch the first one and the last one of 50 Shades, you'll get a much more rewarding experience than if you slog through this one. Because honestly, anything that might taint you toward the third movie would be a bad decision, because the third movie is just special in a lot of ways. But anyway, I didn't like this movie. I can't recommend it. It's just boring. Even for people who appreciate bad movies, there's just not enough bad stuff here. It's just kind of like bleh, bad, like oatmeal. That's what this movie is oatmeal. So that's my review of 50 Shades Darker. Sorry I didn't like pan it or be cruel with it, but I don't actually like to bury movies, and I don't really think this one is particularly bad. It's just not good. It's just boring. So if you want to read a full write-up of it, you can check that out at markfusion.com. I actually have write-ups of all three films up there right now if you want to check that out. I'll have one up for 50 Shades Freed, a video here soon, but you can check out my review of the original movie here, and there's also hundreds of other movie reviews in this movie review playlist on my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Mark Fusion. You can go to Patreon for $5 a month to get exclusive content. You can go to Letterboxd and see that what I'm posting about there to see what might be coming up on the channel soon. But the best thing you can do to help me out is just hit that sub button. YouTube, as always, is monkeying with small creators. So sub is a direct, free, and easy way to support me and help me to build the channel and continue to make content. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon.